Happy New Year, everybody. It's good. I don't really see you all, but I'll just say it's good to see you. Dana's going to advance the slide. And just want to welcome everybody. I hope everybody's having a good start to the new year. And like this says, goodbye 2020, hello 2021. Bring on the new year. So our next slide, I believe, is I'm just going to introduce Gina Cazzaruni is here with us today to take any questions or share any news with you. We also were scheduled to have another special guest, but that person at the last minute couldn't make it. But we will get that person on another call very, very soon. They were very excited to do it and was very sad when they had to cancel. I don't want to say who, but more news on that, hopefully on the next call that we do have. So Gina, I'm going to turn it over to you. So take it away.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to just talk because I can't hear anything on your end, but I'll just go ahead and give you the updates, okay?
Okay, that sounds great. Can you all hear Gina? Can someone tell me in the chat if you can hear Gina? Because, okay, you guys can hear her. We can't. How exciting.
Okay, all right.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm just going to
Yes.
wing this since I can't hear you guys.
Okay, we can hear you.
But we're going to go ahead and give some updates for the commodity distribution unit. I'm Gina Cazzaruni. Let me go ahead and show you who I am, in case you don't know. Anyway, I'm Gina. Hi. I'm not sure what's wrong with my speakers. But let's go ahead and get started with the updates. I'm glad you all can join us today, and I hope that you all are safe, and I hope that you all are healthy. I know it's kind of been a trying time. We've just got a lot of different things that are going on this year because of COVID. So I'm going to just explain what we're doing on the commodities. Some of you may know, but this year there have been a lot of trucks that have been canceled. Right now, the strawberry trucks have been canceled, and just recently some sweet potato trucks have been canceled. And we've also canceled some of the applesauce cups. Some of this is due to having problems from the manufacturers getting the items in. And then some of the trucks that have been canceled is due to just low meal service. Schools aren't taking the items like they were in the past, and so we've had to make those decisions to cancel. We also have several schools that have put their items on hold, or they've canceled their items due to non-use. One thing that we do ask you to do is if you have the storage to take items, please take those items. We want you to use those items. We want you to store those items. I know that most school districts have more dry storage. So if you can take your dry storage items, please take those. If you really absolutely cannot take the frozen items, then call us and let us know. We need to know in advance so we can take those off of our trucks and not deliver those to you. That being said, there are other schools that are willing to take certain items. And as soon as we get information from you, we can transfer those items to other schools. I realize that there's a lot of schools now that are doing the summer feeding school program. You can use the commodities from the school lunch program for the summer feeding. So we do want you to take advantage of that. We have a lot of things that are on the unallocated list. Basically, some of the items that we have that we think would be good for grab and go type meal services would be the pancakes. We've got sliced cheddar cheese, shredded pepper jack cheese, canned chicken. We've got cooked chicken fillets. You can do chicken fillet sandwiches with the sliced cheddar cheese. So just take advantage of these. In the past, sometimes we have limited you to your PAL dollars, but this year we're not doing that. If you've expended all of your PAL dollars that we've given you, and you need something that's on the unallocated list, we ask you to please let us know and we can deliver that to you. We want to make full use of all of these items. That being said, we also have plenty of DoD fresh fruit and vegetable funds. And the thing is with the canceled trucks, we're able to divert some of those funds into DOD. In the past, I've heard schools say that they want to hold on to their DOD funds for the end of the year. This is not the year to do that. Go ahead and order, spend what you can, and then let us know and request more funds if you need those. Because if you don't take it, or what we've always said is another school will. So please do that. That being said, I've talked to Sylvia with DOD, and she is having some problems with the DOD deliveries. Schools are closing down, opening up, going to virtual learning. Sometimes they place orders and then they close down. If you find yourself in a situation like that, please let our office know, and we can reach out to Sylvia and let her know. We also need to know too when you can't take a delivery because there's no one there that can take it due to COVID. And that way we can take that off of our trucks and not try to deliver that to you. Let's see, temperatures. I know schools have called us about temperature checks, and we are asking you that you still do your temperature checks. Whether it's electronically, that's okay, or whether you send somebody in there every other day to do it if the school is closed. This is very important because if you have an outage or your freezers go down, if you're not checking those every other day, at least you can't determine if something's wrong with that product. And then therefore it could be a loss. Just recently we had one school that had over a $25,000 loss. And I know that the weather is a problem. We have ice storms and sometimes we can't help that. But if we know in advance, maybe we can help you get that transferred to another district. Or have a backup plan. $25,000 is a lot, especially for a small school. And we want you to use these products. So please reach out to us. Another thing this year, we did this last year and now we're doing it again this year. The assessment fees are now online. So if you go under the DF10, you can see that on the home page if you have not paid those assessment fees, and those will be due by May 15th. Due to COVID, we've changed our review process. We're now doing desk audits for the time being, and we will continue to do those until this COVID is over, if it's ever over anyway. But that being said, if we do have findings on the review, once it's safe, our staff will be going out and doing the on-site reviews. Now for next year, I have just released the survey online today. It's supposed to come out on the 15th, but it was ready, so we put it out there. I've sent all the school districts an email because we have a new link to our commodity distribution webpage. So you can go in there, check your email, access that link, and you can begin ordering. We had a training yesterday, and I let the people know that were on the training yesterday that we are using the 2019 meal counts. So those meal counts that we're using, we used them last year for a different reason. And now we're using them again this year. And we will probably use them again next year because, a lot of the schools, their meal counts are down. And it was the only way that we can ensure that you get your commodities as usual and not have a reduction. So if you have any questions or you want to know why it's the same, that's why. This year, we usually send out an information sheet for DOD. This year we did it through email. Jacqueline, she created a survey, and so we mailed it to all the contact people. If you would complete that survey, click submit, and it just loads up onto one of our spreadsheets. It's just easier, and it's easier for us to send to DOD instead of having a lot of paperwork. Since we are working from home, we've gone paperless, so we're trying to do the best that we can. Fill out all the information. The only time you need to add your sites to that spreadsheet is if you are adding new sites. Or if it's your first time to sign up, then we need your site so we can set that up and send that to USDA. The other thing that we're doing this year, we said we were going to stop it last year, but then COVID hit. For processing, We are going to allow schools to carry over some of their processing pounds, but that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. The reason I say that is because what we're going to do first is we're going to try to transfer those pounds, the unused pounds, to other schools in the state that can use it. So that's going to be our first option. So we make sure we use up all those pounds. And then after that, we will look at each district case by case to see if you could carry over for the next year. Not everyone will be able to carry over. But that being said, we always find the pounds for you. I hope you guys know that. This year, since we had several trucks that were canceled, what we're going to do is hopefully we will be able to carry over those entitlement funds for next year. So if you didn't get your pounds this year, that funding will carry over, and then we can order additional trucks for processing. So anyway, that's all that I have. I'm sorry that I can't hear you guys, but if you do have any questions, I think that you can put them in the queue, or you send them. I think there's someone that you can send them to, and I'll be happy to answer your questions, or you can email me. Thank you.
Since Gina can't hear us, I'm going to go ahead and let you all know everything you put in the chat up until this point, we will forward to Gina so that she knows what you need. We have a copy of the chat, and so we will send that to her. So she will see that, unless she looks like she might be reading the chat right now, but we'll make sure she gets a copy of that. And it looks like she is even taking some notes. I don't know if she can hear me now or not, but that's how we'll handle that. We'll make sure she gets that chat from the time she started to when she just ended. So there were a lot of you asking for the unallocated list, and then several of you were asking for a link from yesterday's training that she mentioned. So we'll make sure that that she gets that, and that will get to you. But I do think she's looking in the chat right now. We'll go ahead. I'm gonna scroll down real quick. Okay. Debbie did just send her a note in the chat too. So, you know, technology is great. We're happy to have her, and sometimes it works fabulously, and sometimes there's kinks, and today there's a kink. So, but we'll make sure she gets it. Okay, so we are going to move on with our presentation. And like I said, the other special guest had something come up. We do plan on having that person hopefully on the next call or one shortly after that. I knew there was a chance, that's why I didn't give any other information except for special guests, that the schedule might not allow for that today, but we were hoping, but we did get bumped, unfortunately, for something else. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm excited, and I'm hoping it'll happen next time. So Gina, go ahead, or not Gina, Dana, go ahead. As you may or may not be aware, we did send this out in through the systems, but the new summer rates are out. They will go into effect with your January claim. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, lunch took a big jump, 16.5 cents lunch went up. That was higher, that's a higher jump than we'd ever seen before. So I don't know, some of you might consider switching to summer feeding. Ultimately, that's like close to or just over 80 cents. It's like point something. I think it's 80 point some odd cents, because summer feeding rounds out to the fourth number, whereas national school lunch just stops after two digits after the decimal. So I don't know. You can reach out to Dee. You are welcome to do whatever you want to continue doing and what you're comfortable with, but there's the rates. I just wanted you all to know that, and they have been put, I believe, on the summer side and on the national school lunch side, if I remember correctly. We can get them to you as well. So, okay, next slide, please. We had a couple calls the first part of January saying, what do we do since we can't serve SSO and summer feeding anymore free? Well, that's not true. Remember, shortly after we told you it was good till December 31st, about actually a week later, they extended it to June 30th of 2021. So keep in mind, you can continue on some seamless summer option or summer feeding through the school year. Actually, it goes until June 30th of 2021. So if you want to continue SSO or SFSP after that, you've got to be eligible, because the area eligibility also runs out on June 30th. So some of the school districts that are able to do that at sites that don't meet the 50% free and reduced requirement, That ends on June 30th of 2021. Could it be extended? There's always that possibility, but as of right now, we're going to plan accordingly as if it won't. But if it does, of course, we will be here to let you know. So if you continue after June, just keep in mind you can't do the SSO July application until the new FY22 application rolls over, and we do that shortly after July. So just an FYI, just friendly reminders on some of that since we've been off. Again, the area eligibility. I'm getting feedback all of a sudden, sorry. Just a reminder, the area eligibility waiver for National School Lunch, and which would be SSO, and summer feeding, that is for any site that doesn't meet the 50% free and reduced requirement. That does end on June 30th. So sites that don't meet that, like I just said, will not be eligible after June 30th. Just a couple of reminders, we do this periodically on this call, and it's based on what we're seeing when the field consultants are out there or phone calls that we're getting. Question, hey, do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? Just want to remind you all that production records and all other records for the program have not been waived and must be maintained at all times. You're filing claims for reimbursement with federal funds, and that paperwork is your validation that those meals were served. We've got several school districts that are sending home like a boxed meal for the weekends for virtual days. You know, if a school goes Monday, I don't know, maybe a school goes Monday through Thursday, they send a boxed meal home for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You cannot implement offer versus serve with those boxes. It's not feasible. It's not, you can't do it properly. So all those box meal components must be included in their full quantity when they're sent home. And this includes menus for those meals and food safety instructions. And and that was when Dana did just mention, reminded me, I had a note to the side. So if you're sending meals home for 7 days, you have to follow, and you're doing SSO. This is if you're doing SSO and sending meals home for 7 days. You need to follow the 7-day meal pattern in the Child Nutrition Manual on CM, which stands for Cafeteria Manager Section 33. So that also means that you've got to give a 1 cup fruit at breakfast. Keep all that in mind. It's just reminding you that still has to be followed. And if you're sending home the at-risk program under CACFP, a supper and a snack, you still have, and it's being done virtually, you still have to send that educational enrichment component for each day's meals for each day's meal sent home. Sorry, got that kind of tongue-tied. Okay, so we did receive just last week, and we knew we were going to have a call. We received a new memo and 2 new waivers. So the first memo is SP, which stands for School Programs 05-2021, CACFP 04-2021, and SFSP 04-2021. And that just means there's information in that memo that covers all programs. And it's a Q&A. So the first one is dealing with, can a child nutrition program operator donate leftover food or milk to a CACFP daycare home provider? And yes, you can. It does tell you that, but it's also reminding you that if a school or a CACFP or summer sponsor is having a lot of leftover food on a frequent basis, you might check your menu planning and production record practices so that you can adjust and reduce your leftovers. Excuse me. So just something to remember. Don't over prepare just to donate it. That's not good menu planning. And cost-wise, it's not the best thing to do either. The next one talks about how can CACFP at-risk centers track attendance to claim reimbursement for meals and snacks served to children participating virtually. So we've talked about this a lot over the calls as far as you always have to ensure that a meal is going to a child. So if that meant your process was to write names down or check off a list, that's what you need to be doing. And that would fall for your attendance. And that's really what this is talking about. You need to have some sort of attendance tracking for that. And that's exactly where this is going. So the next one talks about, do stimulus payments or weekly unemployment insurance payments provided through the CARES Act and Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 count as income when determining eligibility for the child nutrition program? So this may come into play when you have people apply for the program that have received monies. And it says COVID-related stimulus payments do not count as income for determining free and reduced price eligibility for the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program or for a Tier 1 reimbursement for a family daycare home provider. Because these payments are tax rebates, they shall not be taken into account as a resource for a period of 12 months from receipt for purposes of determining eligibility of such individual or any other individual for benefits or assistance, or the amount or extent of benefits or assistance under any federal program or under any state or local program financed in whole or in part with federal funds. And then it gives the US code. It says the IRS also clarifies that these specific coronavirus payments will not affect income for purpose of determining eligibility for federal government assistance or benefit programs. It does go on to say, however, the weekly COVID-related supplement unemployment benefits provided through CARES Act and Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 do count as income for means-tested benefits other than Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program, including free and reduced price meals. So I know that next year when we do some of our ABVM trainings, this will be brought up then too, because that we may end up all forgetting by then because things seem to continue to change. So the next one is dealing with the National School Lunch Program, and it's questions 4, 5, and it's several, starting with 4. If a school food authority does not participate in the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program in school year 2021, must the SFA amend its state agency agreement? And it's basically saying, no, you don't have to, which we pretty much already knew that, but I think this has just been other states that maybe don't have a computerized system when they apply in some instances, and they're still doing paper, which is, it happens. You don't have to reapply. And the other thing it does state is because you're not operating for this school year because of COVID, National School Lunch, sometimes if you skip a year, you're considered a new operator the next year, but because in this case of the flexibilities USDA is given, that won't be the case. You'll just be a continuing like you always have. So the next one talks about, you know, some of you receive an additional 2 cents for severe need breakfast and even for additional at lunch based on your free and reduced. It's the percentage of in the prior 2 years. So this one could affect in school year 2022-23 the severe need funding, and it's just explaining that you can use the most advantageous year for that. So if you start out the school year 2022-23 and you meet that percentage, we can use those numbers. So as it gets closer, we'll deal with that. But it did give us some that questions come up on our calls. So. The next one are LEAs required to use approved household applications on file as of October 1 of 2020 to develop their verification sample size for school year 2021. And we had told you, excuse me, many months ago to go ahead and start your verification. And it was as of October 1 on the applications you had received up to that point, because you probably maybe they slowed down when you started feeding again, or you didn't collect after that point. But yes, you use, it's based on October 1. The sample size used to conduct verification activities must be based on the number of approved applications on file as of October 1 of 20. LEAs are not required to verify any approved meal applications collected after October 1. All LEAs that collected household applications in school year 2021 are required to conduct verification regardless of the child nutrition program they are operating this school year. However, LEAs that did not collect meal applications in 2021 are not required to conduct verification activities. I think the majority of the districts that would have needed to collect meal applications did start. They just maybe didn't have as many as they would have normally. So, and I think most of you knew that verification should have been done based on prior calls we've had. The next one, many LEAs that are operating summer feeding and SSO for the entire school year 2021, or that's May, I said many, May LEAs that are operating summer feeding and SSO for the entire school year 2021, collect and process free and reduced meal price applications. And it goes on to say that LEAs that are operating summer feeding or SSO for the entire school year 2021 may continue to collect and process meal applications to maintain your POS system requirements and to establish eligibility for other benefits, particularly PEBT. As noted in question 6, LEAs that collected household applications prior to October 1 of 20 are required to conduct verification. If LEAs chose not to conduct their normal meal application process in 2021, then states may establish the child's PEBT benefits using the LEA's free and reduced price records from 1920 school year. However, states must provide new students such as kindergartners and newly income eligible children an opportunity to establish their eligibility for PEBT benefits. USDA strongly encourages states and LEAs to use their existing school meal application process and direct certification systems to determine these children's eligibility for PEBT. So yes, there's another round of PEBT, and we've been working with DHS on that. I don't have any news yet, but there's a program being created to collect that information a little bit differently than what we did last year. And so there'll be more to come on that once we get the program working and the final process in place. This talks about what information we're going to use for the fresh fruit and vegetable program for school year 21-22. And it basically is state agencies generally use free and reduced price school meal data from the preceding October to identify elementary schools eligible to participate in FFVP in the subsequent school year. However, as many SFAs will not have accurate October data because of program changes due to COVID, state agency may use the data they determine to be most accurate. Therefore, state agencies may use data from October of 20 or a different month during school year 2021 they determine to be more accurate. Data from October of 19 or newly collected data for school year 21-22. The data chosen must be used consistently throughout the state. A firm decision has not been made on that, but right now we're considering just sticking to October of 19 data because that would be the most accurate data. But more to come on that when you're able to apply for fresh fruit and vegetable. We'll be sure and tell you what to use. The next one is dealing with the FY20 National School Lunch Equipment Assistance Grant. And I think some of the states, based on this question, held off on moving forward with that, and we didn't. So we've moved forward with that just like we were supposed to, and there were no big changes with that. Those have already been awarded and sent. That process is done for us. So the last question in here deals with all the child nutrition programs, and it's dealing with, it just states, may child nutrition program operators that have received a loan through the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as PPP, made available through the Small Business Administration and qualified lending partners use summer feeding or CACFP program funds received from the state to pay back a PPP loan. And it goes on to say that Congress authorized the Paycheck Protection Program through the CARES Act and Consolidated Appropriations Act 2021 to help businesses facing extenuating circumstances due to COVID-19 pandemic to cover their payroll expenses. Some sponsors have used the PPP funds to pay for child nutrition program labor expenses. And then it goes 2 bullet points that are under certain circumstances, a PPP loan may be forgiven. If the PP loan is forgiven, any child nutrition program expenses paid for using those forgiven PPP funds may not be claimed when using child nutrition program funds since they have already been paid with another source of federal funding. If the PPP loan is not forgiven, child nutrition program funds may only be used to repay that portion of the loan which was used to cover allowable child nutrition program expenses. And it goes into a little more detail there. I'm going to stop with that. This memo, along with the other 2 that I'm getting ready to go into, are in CARS under the 21 memos, like we have all of them. So I forgot to mention that earlier. I apologize. The next one is an actual waiver they've extended, and it's dealing with food service management contracts. And basically, if you're a school that your food service management contract ends on June 30th of 2021 and you don't have any additional years, you're required to rebid at the end of this year. It would allow, based on the state opting into it, would allow you to continue that contract for 1 additional year, but the state of Oklahoma is not opting into this waiver. This waiver was available last year as well towards the end of the school year, and no one asked for it. Doesn't seem to be an issue. And so if you are in your last year of your food service management contract, which expires on June 30th of 21, that must be rebid if you want to go with a food service management company for school year 21-22. Can't believe we're getting into the bigger school years. Okay, and the last one really dealt more for us as a state agency, but sometimes we require you to do certain federal reports, such as the paid lunch equity, for example. That won't be conducted this year. We won't be reaching out to you to do that. So there's, this is Child Nutrition Waiver number 72 for federal reporting, and multiple federal reports that we do in here have been waived for this school year, and a couple of them, it will even affect the following year. So there's just some federal reporting as a state agency that we won't have to do that we normally do throughout the year. They're pretty big reports, but they've been waived. So that one's uploaded, but really the one that pertains the most to you all is the PLE. We do have some upcoming trainings. That's the next slide. We've got ABVM for beginners. I think we've had maybe some turnover, and we've decided we needed to have that. So there, that date and time is there. We always have an annual food service management company training for schools and company management companies. That's on January 26th at 1 o'clock. These are all via Zoom right now. We still have to do our Zoom meetings. Also procurement training on January 28th via Zoom. And then it does go on to say towards the bottom that the links are found in CARS where we normally put them. So okay, something that Dana came across, and she brought it to my attention, and I thought, well, we at least need to mention it on the next call. There's a couple schools in Texas, right, Dana? Grapevine, Colleyville district. It's in the SNA magazine. Yeah. And they are selling meal kits to families to increase revenue for child nutrition. So there's, I think you could even go to SNA's website and get this information. But they're selling like weekend meals kits, or even just cookie dough and pizza kits. And it says on here, we just wanted to give a little information. It may not even be anything you all are interested in doing. We just thought it was kind of a neat idea. They sell meals for $25 each, and they feed a family of 4. And so they've done fajitas and enchiladas. They've done spaghetti, pasta dishes, and things like that. And it includes like sometimes a tossed salad, a main dish, and a dessert that could be just cookies or brownies or something. But they've had some good luck with it based on the article, and we just thought it was kind of interesting. They have raised some revenue with it, and they even, as an incentive, based on what they make off of those meals, this particular district donated 10% of their proceeds to the district's education department. So they paid it forward with what they got. So just one of those things. You all may think we're absolutely crazy for even bringing it up, but we just thought it was kind of a neat idea. And the article is on SNA, National School Nutrition Association. I just completely drew a blank there for a second. So that would need to be run as a catering account. Good point. Dana says, and yes, it would have to be run through a catering account. You would need to set that up as a catering account. And then just as a reminder, National School Breakfast Week is coming up in March. We're just bringing it up now. USDA always does reach out to us if we have any cool and exciting things going on in our state. Please let Dana know. We'll keep track of that so we can let them know. We also know it's hard to do some of that right now, but we're just bringing it up to your attention. So give us a second to get caught up in the chat to see, so we can scroll up and see where you all start. Okay, I think I'm there. Okay, that was for Gina. The rates are on D. They're on the summer website. Those, and did we end up putting them in CARS? I thought we did. I don't either, actually. Now that I thought we did, we can get them into CARS if we can do that. Your area consultant does have them as well. They were emailed them. You can always reach out to your area consultant. They could forward them to you. So are we, go ahead.
We'll post this presentation.
Well, yeah, we do always post these. That's true. So are we able to serve through June? Yes. Gina, were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say. Oh, I got an echo here, sorry. Never mind, it's not gonna work.
That's what happens when we talk to each other on our computer as hosts.
I didn't hear what you said, Gina.
I had an echo.
Yeah,
So
there is a
I,
little bit of an echo.
So I was going to say that we will send out the unallocated list, and we will send that link out again for the survey.
Great.
I think that was most of the questions.
Okay, great. We had told them we would get you that part of the chat so you knew who needed it, but that's great.
Okay.
That you're going to resend those. Okay, we can still provide you that, but good deal. That sounds great.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so are we able to serve through June? Yes, you can serve through June. That would just be like you would be serving in the summer. You would just roll, you would just serve like you normally would for the summer if you participated in SSO or summer feeding. But yes, you can. That is fine. The flexibility of serving everyone free, excuse me, continues till June 30th. And for sites that don't meet the 50% site requirement too. Carrie. No, serving through summer feeding has not been extended through October of 2021. It's June 30th of 2021 is what the nationwide memo allowed for. Now, again, don't know, could that be extended? It totally depends on what happens with the pandemic at this point. And then, of course, you know, we also have the upcoming new administration. So there could be some differences with how things are handled. I don't think they would take anything back that they already have in place, but going forward from there, we don't know how the new administration in Washington, D.C. will work. There's always a few differences that go on. So just kind of keep that in mind. Do we post the slides? We do. Yeah, they're in cars. What do we post them under?
Under the COVID-19 SSO tab.
COVID-19 tab on cars.
I usually wait till we get the.
But it won't be instantaneously. Give it a little bit because we also like to do the chat with it. We do them at the same time. Okay, the low income report. I meant to do a slide on that. We don't have guidance yet, but I have been told that Department of Ed has given all the title programs in the state agencies some guidance, but they've got to disseminate it and make a decision. And so I know that there's talks, and I kind of point it behind me because they're across the hall. There are some talks on what they're wanting to do, but I don't know yet. So I'm hoping by the end of the week, I will be included in those so that I have some information. And as soon as we do, we will get it out. But right now I don't have anything, but Department of Ed did come out with something, and it was just the latter part of last week. So it's not like they've been sitting on it or anything like that. Between that guidance and they got their CARES Act money, they've been very busy across the hall trying to get all that disseminated. It's kind of like when we get memos, we've got to go through it. We've got to have time to sort it, and they're kind of dealing with that too right now. So not kind of, they are. Tricia, what waiver do you need me to go over? I'm going to keep going. And can child nutrition employees work on these meals during their normal contract? How do you handle that with?
You can, but the labor
Would
for
be
this
paid out of-
needs to be paid out of this profit.
Okay, I thought so. Jim, they can, but the labor hours that are from the money made from the catering of these meals for families needs to be paid out of that catering account, not child nutrition. Just Dana just answered that because she did some catering when she was at McAllister. Okay, if have educational activity after school can, ooh, it just jumped on me, I'm sorry. Can we provide snacks? We are on summer feeding and can only claim, no, that's correct. In order to do snacks after school, you would need to be part of the either do it through the National School Lunch After School Snack Program or the CACFP at risk. So, Shauna, do you know what about the percentages yet that child nutrition will get with the new CARES Act? No, I don't. Haven't been given any information on that. 71 and 72. Oh, okay, waivers. Okay, so 71 was if you're with a food service management company and your ending of that contract ends June 30th of this school year, 2021, you do need to rebid it. We are not opting into the waiver to extend it one more year. That's 71. 72 is just about federal reporting. There's some federal reports that we always do in the office every school year based on what you supply us, and several of those have been waived. The biggest one that you all would know about would be that PLE tool. We won't be doing that this year. Krista, Jim asked if labor could be paid. How is labor paid if you do those meals for families if they want to buy box meals? And the answer is that the labor needs to be paid out of that catering account for what you get from those meals. I hope that helps.
And can we sell our overstock?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, Dana's saying yes. Sorry, I missed that part. Can we sell our overstock of cookies to families? She says yes. Can we participate in after-school snack program and SFSP at the same time? Yes, you can. You claim your after-school snack program on NSLP, and you claim summer feeding, breakfast, and lunch. Okay. Oh, thank you, Mona. No commodities and catering meals. Thank you. You were correct. You are correct. It's only for program meals. Where can we view any recorded sessions covering applying for summer feeding? You need to reach out to D. Houston for that. Okay, I just got handed a note. Let me read it just real quick. Sorry.
Put Dee's email in the chat. Oh, I did it just to Gina.
Oh, Dana's going to put Dee's email in the chat. So a reminder from our person that's been processing your claims. She asked me to remind you all that when you file an SSO claim, please make sure you remember to add in your, I think that's virtual, and or your weekend meals into your breakfast and lunch totals. Oh, okay, yeah. I think some meal counts were being left out. Include them all. And file under the right program, yes. If you're doing SSO, you need to file your breakfast and lunch under SSO. Okay. Carrie Kinsey, were school districts supposed to give child nutrition give? I have not been given word that there was any in that bill yet. We have not had a call with USDA for a month at least. Our next one's next Thursday. So I'll know more next Thursday. But I haven't heard from anyone. Are we able to participate in the after school snack program and SSO at the same time? Yes, because after school snack will be claimed under the NSLP claim. Your SSO is claimed under SSO, breakfast and lunch. But with after school snack, you can only serve your enrolled children that are enrolled in your district. So you wouldn't be able to do siblings or just walk-ups from another district. They're enrolled only. You need to do, if you're sending that meal home virtually, you still have to do a virtual educational enrichment component with those after school snacks as well. If National School Lunch application was approved at the beginning of the year, do we need to do anything else to begin to participate in the after school snack program? You need to see if that checklist in the National School Lunch application was completed. If not, reach out to Becky, Rhonda, or Nikki, and they can help you with that. Anybody else? I don't think we've missed any.
That's all I see.
Okay. Let me make sure I've talked about everything on my notes. If any of you need to update your SSO application to reflect January through May or June, you'll need to do that because you won't be able to file a claim in January if you're doing SSO and it's not marked on the SSO application. So be sure about that. If you've decided to start doing weekends, that would need to be updated too. And this goes for summer feeding as well. You need to let Dee know. If you had started the application when you completed the summer application, if you did it just, let's just say October through December, we need to add, and you're going to continue on that, which most of you will do summer feeding or SSO, you need to update your summer feeding application as well.
Kristen wanted you to explain the rates.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I missed that. Can you pull?
I'm gonna try to get back to that
Okay, I'll do the
slide.
best I can on that. Adding weekend. So yeah, if anything's changed as far as your SSO program or your summer feeding, reach out to those people. For summer feeding, it's Dee Houston. And Dana, did you end up?
Yes, I put that in the
Okay,
chat.
Dana put Dee Houston's information in the chat. And if it's SSO, you can reach out to Becky Gray, Nikki Assad, or Rhonda Stevenson in our office. Okay, so as far as the summer rates, when you put a claim in, okay, so you're paid on rule or self-prep, and it's all done in the system. If I'm not exactly sure what I'm wanting, y'all are wanting me to expound on, but I'll do my best. When you put in your, you fill out your application, you put in there whether you're rule or self-prep. Sorry, I'm kind of tripping over my tongue. And then there's all other sites. So there's a difference in reimbursement for that. And then you get paid, and on the claim, maybe we shouldn't, let's not pull it up, but there's an area towards the bottom of the claim that figures in this administrative money and such down here. We don't do that. The system does that. It's all figured in for us. And so when we have to do a revision and go in and adjust accordingly, it figures all that in. I don't know. Is there something else that I'm missing that?
Explain the rate. So, Kristen, ask Kristen if she needed anything else.
Hang on, I've got to move the chat again. I had to move my chat so I could see the rates. These new rates go into effect with your January claim. So when you claim in February for January, these are the rates you're going to be paid on. Is there a place in the application where you say that you are now sending home weekend meals? In the application, for which program, Carla? Actually, I think there's a place in both places for both
In
applications.
the SSO, it's number 7.
It's number 7 in SSO, yeah.
What is the operating? I have no idea what the operating rates are.
Can you tell if Dee's on? Off the top of my head, I honestly have drawn a blank, to be quite honest.
Trying to look here.
We're gonna see if Dee Houston's on. Or Dee, if you're on, can you maybe put that in the chat? I'm absolutely drawing a blank on what that, can you think of what that is off the top of your head, Dana? Operating rate? Okay, sorry. I hate to say that, but I'm just being honest.
Dee may not be on because I haven't seen her.
I know she was working on her trainings today, so she might be, because those start next week. Summer feeding trainings start next week.
You have a question about the operating rates, call Dee.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. I don't want to, I kind of have a vaguely remembering, and I don't want to give any misinformation. That's the last thing I want to do. So we can, if you're wondering that as well as Kristen, go ahead and reach out to Dee. Sorry, hate to say that, but it's just one of those days. Today was kind of a Monday for me with other things going on that people are needing me to do in the agency. So, Okay, I think we've caught up on all. Does anybody else have any questions that they want to put in the chat? We will make sure that Gina gets the chat, so everybody gets what they need from her. And I don't see any more in the chat in the next little bit. We will just end the call for today. And like like I've always said, we're here for you. Thank you for everything you guys have done. I hope you had a great break. I hope you were able to rest a little bit and get re-energized for the end of this year. Hopefully it continues to go smoothly. And you all, I don't see any more questions popping up. Thank you. We appreciate it. Gina, thank you for being on the call. We appreciate it. We should have probably done it before now,
Thank
but we
you.
just hadn't.
All right, see you later.
Lynn says, where do you go to see if you mark January through June for SSO? It's in the SSO site applications. Okay, I think that's it. We'll plan on, right now, we're going to go ahead and plan on a call in a couple weeks unless we get information like we always tell you and we need to do one sooner. Or I find anything else out next week with our call from USDA. We'll just plan on that. We will send it out like we always do through CARS and let you all know when it is. We've got several trainings coming up, so we might have to adjust it a little bit because of the Zoom meetings, but we will get it worked out. And we're here for you. Call us, email us, and thank you for everything you've done. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.